Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend and your good friend, Ethel Kennedy, as she presents the Robert F. Kennedy Ripple of Hope Award to Scott Minerd.
Well, thank you, Teddy, and I want to say thank you to so many people who have come tonight to support this event and the work of the foundation. There are many who have traveled great distances to be here. My good friend Ashish Takar came all the way from Dubai to be here tonight, so thank you all for making this long trip. Tonight I came here to perform an act which I am ill-prepared for. To be acknowledged by the RFK Foundation as a recipient of the Ripple of Hope Award is one of the greatest honors ever bestowed upon me. In all honesty, I don't feel entirely worthy. The acts in which I have engaged, which have resulted in this award, were meant to be private acts. They were acts motivated by conscience and love, meant only to be known in a secret place of my soul. Nevertheless, I acknowledge that some secret acts can have profound consequences, both for good and for evil. It is in the most private place of the soul where God weighs our intentions. And it is there, in that most personal place, that character is forged. Robert F. Kennedy is one of those people who was well acquainted with searching the deep recesses of the soul. He was a man who understood that the needs of basic human dignity transcend political agendas. That the basic freedoms enumerated by the nation's founders were not merely empty rhetoric. That life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are inalienable rights endowed by God, not just to some, like Americans, but to all. He understood in his own words that too often we honor swagger and bluster and wielders of force. Too often we excuse those who are willing to build their own lives on the shattered dreams of others. Some look for scapegoats, others look for conspiracies, but this much is clear. Violence breeds violence. Repression brings retaliation, and only a cleaning of our whole society can remove this sickness from our soul. Today, I question the direction in which our society moves. I question the motives of our hearts. I question the authenticity of our acts. Clearly, something is wrong in America, and something is wrong in the world. Many in our own country point to a growing number of threats which challenge our safety and prosperity. There are those who point to a seemingly ever-expanding list of external and internal interests which seek to wreak havoc and destruction, which will undermine our domestic tranquility. In some cases, this involves extremists who, through fanatical movements, endanger lives around the world. Their hate is real. Many suffer starvation and violence under siege, while others, in fright of oppression, have become unwanted refugees in foreign lands. Yet, other growing threats are largely ignored, or even worse, embraced in friendship, in a false sense of security. As I consider the events of the past month, I must question the commitment of many of my fellow citizens to those lofty standards to which Robert Kennedy and so many others have offered their full devotion. Words like freedom, liberty, and equality roll off of our tongue without thought. Not just thought for the uniqueness of these values, but also thought for their cost. Americans, along with other citizens devoted to these principles, have been called upon in each generation to pay the price for the advancement for these values. Each generation has been responsible not only to renew their commitment to these values, but to expand upon the sacrifices of those who went before, to extend the equality among men to men of other races and creeds, to extend the equality of rights beyond men to women, to provide equality of rights to Jews and Catholics, Muslims and Christians, to gays and lesbians, to immigrants and refugees. Each generation has moved forward in a growing vanguard of hope and freedom, advancing economic opportunity, raising living standards, expanding prosperity, improving quality of life, extending longevity, and integrating the world into a global network which has increased transparency and accountability. While that progress has been uneven and imperfect, it has brought increasing peace and stability to many regions of the world. Now, however, we are faced with a growing tide of nationalism, which is not built on a vision of extending and protecting basic human rights, but is focused on self-interest and fear. Fear that the collective advancement of the global society has become a threat to our own personal safety and prosperity. The perceived imbalance of the global benefits of a more open society is being exploited for political self-interest and personal power by stoking fear and villainizing those who are different. Old enemies are embraced as friends in an alliance of suppression in the name of security and safety. Peoples of diverse religions and creeds are villainized as enemies who are threatening our domestic safety and robbing us of our personal prosperity, rather than appreciating how they are enriching our culture and enhancing the quality of our lives. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, the tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. These words are inscribed on the Colossus of Liberty, which stands in the harbor just a few miles from here. These words express the opportunity of an open and free society, a society which values all humans equally, regardless of race, class, or religion. These are the words of a society which is a great and shining city on a hill, a beacon of hope, an inspiration of freedom to the entire world. It is a beacon of light into the darkest corners of the earth, where peoples living in political and economic oppression may dream of a life in which it is possible as they wait to be touched by the tiniest ripple of hope. This is the inspiration that we may take from the life of Robert Kennedy. Tonight, Here in the greatest American city of all, just a few blocks from where we gather, many live cold and homeless on our streets. Tonight, they will go for want of a bed and a warm meal. Many will die on the very sidewalks on which we tread. Tonight, somewhere in this city, it is likely that someone will lose their life in a senseless act of violence, in a crime committed out of bigotry and hatred. Tonight, in this very city, a teenager will be sold as a sex slave. Tonight, in this very city, someone will be assaulted because of their sexual orientation, for the faith that they embrace, for the color of their skin, or for their ancestry of origin. Tonight, there will be 1,000 acts of social injustice. But tonight, there can be 1,000,000 ripples of hope. As we live in dangerous and uncertain times, I continue to encourage all peoples of faith to be sober and avoid the snares which hinder us from fulfilling that purpose to which God has called. I am not asking you to take responsibility to change the world, but I am asking you tonight to touch the world in which you live. Take a moment for reflection and self-examination. A very dear friend once explained to me that change does not come because of some big thing that we do, but permanent change is the result of small things that we do consistently. Often, it is through small, seeming insignificant acts that change is made. Acts of compassion, courage, kindness, patience, sacrifice, and love. These are the acts that touch the lives of those around us. These are the acts that send forth ripples of hope. These are the acts that will ultimately change the world. Thank you all.